Hello and welcome, everybody. We are back here for the fifth exciting final match of this league with Simian Spirit Guide in the main deck. Been fun so far, and that is the main thing. Learned a little bit. It's always nice, and hopefully you agree. If we manage to win this match, we'll be going 4-1, which is fantastic. A little bit of extra value, but even if we lose this match, we'll end up with a 3-2 record, going infinite, so to speak, get just a little more value than we put into this league, and that's always fantastic. But like always, win or lose, you will see this regardless, as the point of these matches is to have some fun, get a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of learning, and if you happen to have had some amount of learning or enjoyment from these videos, then like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. That is the reason that we're doing this, and with that said, I will see you guys in the match. Alright, it appears that we have our match, so let's roll on in here. On the play. Just kidding. On the draw. Unfortunately, playing against Big Dan with a 1 instead of an I. Pretty tasteful. We have a hand that desperately needs a green source, and a bounce land at that. But we are on the draw. We don't get the turn 2 Azusa here, sadly. Since even if we do draw the bounce land, we don't get to play an Amulet on 1. Playing against a Luris deck, this could be Mill, this could be Prowess Shadow. That's what we played in the last round. It could be any number of different green-white combo decks like Devoted Druid, or the Ballista combo with Heliod. So we really don't know what we're playing against. I'm very tempted to keep this. I guess we could also top deck an untapped source to play Amulet on 1. So like if we top deck a basic force, we can play turn 1 Amulet, turn 2 Explore. I don't know, it's kind of loose though. I think we're supposed to mulligan this. I think a 6-card hand could be better, but I don't know. I really want to keep a hand that has the potential to cast a turn 2 Explore though, and we already have the Amulet too. Any bounce land makes this hand fantastic also. I guess if we get our Amulet turn 1 discarded though, we're in kind of rough shape. Man, this hand's rough. Let me know in the comments whether you would keep this hand or not. I'm very tempted to. Alright, let's keep for science. We'll see if it works out. If it doesn't, then I take full responsibility, but there's only one way to learn whether this type of hand works out or not, and that's to give it a shot. So, we'll see what our opponent is playing in just a few seconds. Agadim. So this is going to be the black-red Shadow deck. They pay the life, of course, and they're going to cast a discard spell. Okay, well, Amulet's gone, as I was fretting earlier, but still, if we top deck a green source, then we might be able to turn to Explore, so things are not all lost here. A bounce land is still a good top deck, even if we don't have Amulet, as it lets us get closer to Titan mana. So, and they do take the Amulet, of course. Another Explorer, huh? Alright, well, let's play out this Tallari West. Trying to get our blue sources in play for transmuting Tallari West sometime down the line. Yeah, we'd like a basic forest on our next one. I'm afraid this hand's not going to work out. We just need basic forest. Come on. Basic forest off the top. Let's see the basic forest. Our opponent has shocked here, and they're kind of just pausing. They obviously can't play a Scourge of the Skyclaves because we have taken no damage. Haste Threat? Swift Spear? Something? Lightning Bolt themselves to play Shadow. Okay. Yeah, well... Forest. There we go. Alright. There we go. And another one. Alright. Now, if we draw a Garen Brig, then we'll be able to cast Titan. Not this upcoming turn, but the turn after. A bounce land would be a fine draw as well, so we could immediately play bounce land, float in the mana, Azusa, land, and have Titan mana. And a blocker, if we need it. We have 2 copies of Titan here, so discard spell doesn't do it. Scourge is kind of scary. There's the bounce land. Alright, well, I mean, we're doing things. We can actually cast Explore this turn also. That's nice. Let's go for it. Simian Spirit Guide. I see, I see. That actually means we can haste our Titan this upcoming turn. If our opponent does something like dismembers our Azusa, paying all the life to try to clock us with Shadow and Scourge, we might just have the good old fast 6 damage clock on him. I doubt that'll happen, but do we take the chump block with the Azusa? I think maybe not. Swift Spear, okay. Because we can make a bunch of chump blockers via Feel the Dead and a Bounce Land once our Titan resolves. They're bolting the Azusa, okay. I think we probably will be hasting our Titan. Dryad. Yeah. Haste our Titan. So we play Titan, get Hanweir and a Bounce Land, pick up the Hanweir, play the Hanweir, Simian Spirit Guide, haste, attack, get Feel the Dead and something else. I guess a Bounce Land, so the next turn we can go ham with Dryad and the Bounce Land, and we'd have 2 blockers. Yeah, okay, it's a plan. It's definitely a plan. Alright, let's get the Hanweir here, if I can manage to find it. And the Gruul Turf, perhaps? I'm beginning to wonder if we actually want to grow our opponent's Shadow. I think we're dead to Team or Battle Rage regardless, so we probably don't care about that. We'd probably rather have them dead in one shot of a Valcat trigger from our Dryad. Okay. Yeah, I think it's probably correct to haste here. At the very least, we gotta show our opponent that we have the Simian Spirit Guide tech, you know? We're not playing it for no reason. Swing. Yes. And now we definitely get Field. And a Bounce Land seems prudent so that we can trigger Valcut this upcoming turn. Definitely stacking the Bounce Land first. And we'll pick up the Gruul Turf, I suppose. Sure, I don't think it matters. Right, pass it back. Hope that our opponent doesn't have Team or Battle Rage or a Kill Spell. And yeah, that's the whole turn. This is your one draw step, opponent. Make it a land, please. Hey, they conceded. All right, so we managed to squeak by game 1 here. Still don't know if that keep was a keep or not. Last time we played against Black Red Shadow, we got punked out by Blood Moon, so I'm very inclined to bring in Wilt here. I don't know if we need 3, but, I mean, we put it in our sideboard for a reason. So, I think we definitely want explosives. We probably want a Beast Within. I don't know about 2. Since we have Wilt to deal with Blood Moon. Relic against Luris is probably not impactful enough. I don't really care about Luris, so let's trim the Bog. The Explorers let us dig out from underneath discard spells. I think before I sided out an Azusa and a Summoner's Pact, we can side out all the Spirit Guides, I think, and probably a Cavernous Souls. That way we get to have maximum number of 3 drops to make extreme progress land drop wise. I don't know. Simian Spirit Guide's not the worst, but it's not really the best. We'll try it this way. We might end up cycling some Wilts this game, but we'll see. They're in the sideboard here to deal with Blood Moon, and that is what we're going to do with them. And they're on the play, which means if we get to a game 3, we'll be on the play, which is very nice. We have a hand with Grazer and Explosives. Very nice. We're definitely going to keep this. We need another green source, and then we already have Titan mana. So, like, if we draw a basic Forest, not only would that let us Grazer on 1 or Explosives on 1 on turn 1, we'd also be able to, down the line, cast a Titan, so that's nice. Turn 1 Swift Spear. Much better on the play than on the draw. And we'll play out our castle here, so we can play Grazer this upcoming turn. Is our opponent going to play a Scourge this turn? That is the question. They still revealed Luris here, so that means they probably don't have Blood Moon. And by probably, I mean definitely don't, right? Yep, they can't reveal it unless they have every permanent with a starting cost of 2 or less. So we have a bunch of dead wilts in our deck right now. At the very least, we can cycle them, so there's that. Another Garen Brig, huh? Alright, let's play this Grazer. Always yield. Get Talaria West. I mean, we could also put the bounce land in play, but the bounce land, if we put this into play, it allows our opponent to Cleansing Wildfire us for value, and I don't really want that to happen, so let's just do this. We can still play explosives and pop it, although I don't know that we're going to do that on 1. We probably need it on 2, so if we draw an untapped source, then we can play it on 2 and pop it. Are they bolting the Grazer? All right. I see what you're doing. At least we already got the ramp value out of it. Much better than Sakura Tribe Scout would have been in this situation. Thoughtseize to take either the explosives. No, it's definitely the explosives. That or maybe a prime time, hoping that they can have another discard spell on the other prime time. They take a prime time, okay. So we're playing a bit of a game here. Untapped source off the top allows us to pop explosives on 2, which seems like it might be a good play. So let's hope for that one. I guess untapped source off the top doesn't allow us to play Titan not this upcoming turn, but the turn after. If we just play it, which is kind of weird. Surgical Primeval Titan, why? No. Okay, now we're definitely bringing in Relic of Progenitus. Although, to be honest, I don't know if it's correct to play around this. Like, this exact situation where they Thoughtseize us with double Titan and then they Surgical Titan and blow us out really hard is extremely unlikely. It's happened once before on the channel here, but generally Surgical Extraction is not a good card against Amulet, so it's always very frustrating to get Surgical in matchups like this. Alas, what can we do? We'll get rid of this Scourge, hopefully, and keep living the life, I guess. Now we can transmute for either a Valcut or a Summoner's Pact so that we can get our Dryad thing going. That's probably the only way we can win this game. And there's the Dryad. Very interesting. Wish we could get rid of the Scourge this very turn, but it looks like we cannot. So instead, we have to do the only thing we can do and just deploy this Dryad. Probably should have picked up and held on to the Talaria West, but it's no big deal. I mean, I guess we're blocking a Swift Spear. A Lightning Bolt to us to 9. Yeah, that's just lethal. Well, we were going to lose this game anyways. We already have, actually, so I don't know. There we go. Okay, Surgical Extraction. Do we even want Relic for that? Unclear. We definitely don't need Wilts. So that's a pretty one-for-one swap here. I don't mind Spirit Guide, but it's kind of a dead card in our hand. I'm very unsure on whether we want to keep this one in the deck or not. I kind of want this Cavernous Souls back, but I don't know what I would side out, so... Alright, let's just play it like this. Alright, we are on the play. We got a mulligan this. No green source. Not really playable. Our opponent is a Revealing Lurrus again. This hand is pretty decent, I would say. I think we definitely keep this. And we can bottom the Talaria West, perhaps? We have a turn 2 Azusa, turn 3 Titan type hand if we don't get discard spelled. We can also bottom a Gruul Turf so that we have a Talaria West in case we do get discard spelled, but we don't have double blue for it, so we need to top deck a Growth Chamber. That might be better than having a redundant bounce land, though. Alright, I'm shipping the Gruul Turf here, I think. And of course, we are going to play our turn 1 Amulet so it doesn't just get Thoughtseize out of our hand. And we'll pass it back. Our opponent is on the turn 1 Swift Spear. I already feel like we're so far ahead of our opponent, and we have only played our first turn. Hopefully, I don't get punished for feeling that way. Alright, it's going to be an Azusa plus Dryad turn, which is very nice. It basically guarantees we have Titan next turn if we don't get discard spelled. Very nice, very nice. Yeah. Talari West in play so that if we lose our Azusa, we'll still have the ability to Titan off of Gruul Turf twice with the Dryad in play. And we'll see what happens. No discard spell, please. Wonder who our opponent bobbled before. Doesn't really matter, though. We can just yield through this turn. If our opponent does discard away our Primeval Titan, we might be able to just cast Turn Timber. We have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mana. Easily enough to use our Turn Timber here. If they had discard spell plus dismember for the Azusa, we'd have 4, 5, 6, which would be 1 short of Turn Timber. So top decking a Grazer would let us Turn Timber. Or we could just top deck a Titan, of course. Push the Dryad. Fine. Okay, so we get to Titan this turn. I guess we just start there. Float some mana. I think we pick up the Talari West here. I'm fine with that. And here we pick up a bounce land, perhaps? I don't know, maybe not. Our Titan attack trigger can get a bounce land. Let's pick up the Turn Timber, I suppose. Alright, here's the Titan. Yup. We'll get... I mean, I suppose there's some amount of argument to not even haste here. Just get Valakut and a bounce land. Or Talari West and a bounce land and cycle it for a Summoner's Pact right now and plan to just kill our opponent with Valakut this upcoming turn. The only problem is that loses to double bolt on the Titan, and I don't think letting our opponent cast a Death Shadow is going to be the biggest of deals here, so I'm going to go for the haste here. It gives us an additional couple lands, which I think is relevant, so let's go with this. I don't expect our opponent to have something crazy like Path to Exile, so yep. Do we attack with Azusa? I don't see why not. Alright, and now we'll get Bounce Land and maybe like Field of Dead or another Valakut actually seems good for Dryad purposes. If we want to transmute this Talari West this turn, then we need to get a Talari West here. I don't know how necessary it is to do that. So next turn, we don't have any packs to pay for. So if we get Growth Chamber and like Gruul Turf, or Growth Chamber and like Field of Dead, and pick up any bounce land, we'll have, let's say we pick up the Gruul Turf, we'll have 2 Growth Chambers plus a bunch of lands in play to immediately transmute and get Summoner's Pact, and that plays around them having a discard spell for the Summoner's Pact. So we're putting them to 10, so we would need... So if we got Valakut here, we would have 1, 2, 3, 4... Only 4 Valakut triggers? That's 12 damage, so that is enough to kill them. Okay, so I think it's supposed to be Valakut and Growth Chamber here. Okay. There's also a question of whether we want to pick up a bounce land here, or just... I mean, I guess we need 2 land drops to play, at least, on our Dryad turn, and Turn Timber is the only land that we can rely on actually having to play, because we have to transmute the Talari West for the Summoner's Pact, unless we just draw a Summoner's Pact or a Dryad, so I guess we do want to pick up the bounce land. Fine. And, yeah, now we pass it back. I guess we could have played the Turn Timber for turn, but it doesn't really matter. We're actually putting them to 9 instead of to 10. cracking a fetch now means that they would have to crack their Sunbite Canyon to have the Revolt on Fatal Push to kill a Dryad during our turn. They do have the Death Shadow that we were thinking about. Scourge of the Skyclaves. Alright, so I think we win this game. Alright. So let's just do the respectable thing here. If our opponent will let us. Opponent, you are dead. Sorry to tell you. Alright, here we go. Here's the sequence. We'll float this color, I suppose. Transmute. I said this color when I meant colorless. That's fine. Get Summoner's Pact. Pack for a Dryad. Play Dryad. And the game's over. Our opponent has recognized it. Alright, so 4-1 with Spirit Guide Amulet, or Monkey Amulet. That's fantastic. And I think so far what I've learned out of this league is you can do a lot of things in an amulet list and it still be just fine, right? Like, there are things that our Spirit Guides helped us do very well, such as casting 3-drops on turn 2, which is definitely the most notable thing that I think Spirit Guide does. Rather than trying to cast an early Titan, I think the best thing Spirit Guide does is cast an early 3-drop, which is amazing. And I definitely think that if you're playing a list of Spirit Guides, you ought to be playing a maximum number of Azusas and Dryads. But admittedly, I could see a list cutting the Spirit Guides for other things, like a main board explosives, pack negation, those kinds of things, or like the 4th Explorer, and just other things. And I don't think the changes would be too terribly noticeable. I will say that I felt like I was sideboarding out Simian Spirit Guides a lot in matchups where we didn't have the ability to have dead cards in hand. For example, against control opponents where the mana doesn't matter, against any kind of discard decks where you don't want to be caught top-decking Simian Spirit Guides in the late game when you really just want a Titan or a Summoner's Pact, that kind of thing. So it doesn't feel like it's really detrimenting the deck all that much, and if you like playing Simian Spirit Guide, then I suggest you go for it. I don't think that I would play Spirit Guide and Karn. That said, maybe I should play another league with the Spirit Guide and Karn list that I did like the previous league to get a bit of a better handle on it. But I think that when you're filling your deck up with so many cards that don't really help you accomplish getting to Titan, it's kind of difficult. You have a lot of dead draws like Simian Spirit Guides and Karns that don't do anything on a board of your opponent already having creatures out, that kind of thing. Playing an early Karn is nice, but I wouldn't want to do it off of a Simian Spirit Guide. I think just trying to explore into turn 3 Karn is going to serve you better and not cost you a card as compared to trying to Simian Spirit Guide out a Karn very early. So my personal opinion is you maybe shouldn't be playing Simian Spirit Guide, but obviously we got the 4-1, so clearly it doesn't detriment the deck all that bad. And yeah, that's all I have to say about it. We didn't really get to see Wilt in action. Sadly, the one time that we could have brought in Wilt and used it in the match, not this one, but the last match that we played against Black-Red Shadow, we didn't board in the Wilts. And then this match, we boarded them in, and our opponent didn't have the Blood Moons, and they, even if we had drawn them, they would have been pretty terrible. So, still, jury's out on this particular card. Who knows? Let me know what your experience is. Have you ever played Wilt in the Amulet sideboard? Let me know. And yeah, I don't really have much else to say. Amulet is still Amulet, and of course, it's always going to be a relatively serviceable deck. So, anyways, I'm going to go ahead and cut that video here. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys for the next league. This is Red Face Menace, signing off.